And Lloyd Kaufman is a hero of mine. If you have followed Troma films, and I don't just mean the movies, everything from Sergeant Kabuki Man, right, to the Toxic Avenger, all of the Troma movies, of course, set in the great Tromaville. And I am a Troma fan. Matthew Klickstein has just written a book about Lloyd Kaufman. Let's talk to him on the show. Hey, Matthew. Great to speak with you here. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you the reason I'm having you on. Two reasons. One, I love Lloyd Kaufman. I love Troma films. And it's the only way to get you to stop emailing me about please interview me. I've got an email thread, no joke, that goes into 50 plus emails about this interview.
Very
also,
proud of that.
Persistence.
Mark Summers once said I was a pain in the ass, but in a good way. Unfortunately, I'm one of those weird creatives and writers who I don't have the $20,000 a week for a publicist. I don't have any network connections through family, and I don't live in LA or New York because I don't.
You don't need that with Film Thread. There's a direct connection, but fewer emails.
You're persistent.
The thing I'm most excited about is after this, you will not be emailing me because we're done
until the next project.
Exactly.
You show up. I don't know if we ever got you the book. You show up. There's a picture of you that Lloyd actually got me at Comic-Con for the Comic-Con oral history that I did a couple years ago for Fantagraphics, and there's actually
that's awesome. But look, I love your tenacity. I love Lloyd and I love Troma. In fact, Lloyd is here with us right now.
Oh, good. He got on finally. We were
Lloyd, how are you?
Oh, there you are.
I see you got a millennial to help you with your tech.
I finally got Michael Hers to make an appearance in public. Michael, tell us about your 50 years
hey, Michael.
making movies.
Good to meet you.
Michael. Oh, this is awful. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. But it was very hard to get into this.
I'm Arthur.
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 Very hard to get
into
the get online. Luckily, Arthur Hers was here, or Michael Hers.
My last name's not Hers.
Oh, all right. Whatever.
My first name's not Michael.
And we will never email you again. I came in on that, so we will never.
It's always fun to see where Lloyd is. He sometimes when he comes in, he's in a bathroom.
The book for anything. So,
all right. Well, we've got.
Don't worry about that.
We've got 1,200 people watching live. Child Protective Services is on the way. Tell us about the book, Matthew, if you would, and then Lloyd, I want to get your Oscar predictions.
The book is called Lloyd Kaufman Interviews. It's out through University Press of Mississippi. Can
you show me the book? Do you have one?
What? I don't. I'll go grab. Oh, there it is. It's on my shelf. Yeah, there we go.
You're completely prepared for an interview. This is
Well, it's my fault.
There you go.
No, Chris.
It also comes in hardcover and ebook edition.
Show it again.
I left the book at the office.
Yeah, and
there you go. All right.
Also hardcover and ebook too. And University Press of Mississippi, believe it or not, is one of the top pop culture academic presses. They do this series called Conversations with Filmmakers that's been going on for 25 years. And this is the one with Lloyd. It's actually quite literally collections of interviews with him going all the way back to 1981 from all different kinds of sources, including Chris Gore's podcast, which you nicely allowed us to transcribe for the book.
Yeah, I just when it comes to books, like I don't see a butler next to you. I see no butler. It's like whenever anyone says, "Can we use?" It's like, yes, I don't care. I'll sign anything. Use it. Yeah. So look, I am a huge fan of Troma films. When I worked at a video store,
bye.
Bye, Michael.
Sorry about that.
When I worked at a video store, Lloyd, you have no idea. Class of Nukem High, so many movies that you brought to the fore. Tromaville being the setting for so many of the Troma films. You both acquired movies and made movies, and you're a hero. And your book, Make Your Own Damn Movie, along with its sequel, are an inspiration. And And also, you've been so outspoken. I saw you at the Cannes Film Festival when I went there, and at the American Film Market. You always have a booth. You are no BS, and you are a beacon of truth in the industry. So,
Thank you.
like,
Thank you. Really,
I want to know what is revealed in this book that we can learn. What's in
well,
the
I
book?
think Matthew. I'm mainly interested, being a dirty Jew, Chris. What? How do I compare? How are the sales? How are the sales compared to, say, Del Toro?
Yeah. I mean, for the installment in the Conversations with Filmmaker series, I don't even think they do Guillermo del Toro yet. But you're definitely.
Oh, well, what about?
Yeah, we're beating. The John Carpenter one is the new one that just came out. We're beating that one. We're beating the Steve McQueen one. We're beating the Julia Dash one. Those are all coming out around the same time. So you're doing pretty well.
That's great. Yeah. Terrific. Thank you, Matt.
In comparison to that, yeah. As far as like Michelle Obama's book or the new Stephen King book, we're a little bit less than that. So.
Nice.
Thank you. That's so nice of you to do this book too. Matthew spent a lot of time on this, and so I'm honored and grateful. And I'm grateful.
There is a lot revealed in it, including Lloyd's social security number and bank account number.
Well, you don't have to worry about the bank account. It's empty.
Matthew, having gone through so much material to distill it down to a book, what's the main takeaway? And we have questions from our audience. We'll go to those. But what's your big takeaway? I mean, I feel Lloyd's an inspiration.
Yeah.
And there are people, you may not like Lloyd's movies. Careful there, Lloyd. You may not like his movies, but what Lloyd has done for the industry, for indie film, the longest running independent film studio distribution company. I mean, like, it's crazy, the achievements, and the fact that James Gunn is a huge fan of Lloyd, having given James his shot, with Romeo and Juliet.
Troma, for
in
sure.
fact, I gotta ask Lloyd. Lloyd, are you in Superman? Are you in Superman?
I signed a NDA. So
the other version of that answer is yes. He's even in the trailer. If you look very closely,
he's in the trailer. I knew it. Lloyd is in Superman.
When he's like going up to the bomb or whatever, Lloyd's one of the people outside. We actually found it and circled it. We put it all over his socials. Lloyd is in the trailer.
Oh my God! So not only do I appreciate Lloyd, James Gunn, which you got to give James credit, is loyal to Lloyd and appreciates Lloyd. And
James Gunn is he's the nicest guy in the world. Everybody around him, all those big stars, they're just people. They're no bullshit. They're the nicest. Oh, in fact, they're Troma fans as a result of probably Romeo and Juliet. But they all, really nice. And James's assistant director. They let me bring Bergio, a guy who worked on our recent movie, Power of Positive Murder. Bergio, just a guy, a young boy. They let me bring him on and for the day, and he sat in Video Village. Nice people, no snottiness, incredible. And the background people, the director for the background, the actor persons, you might call them extras. He was the nicest guy. The extras were all digging the scene, and it was really, really nice. But I'm not allowed to talk about it. So luckily, nobody's listening to this podcast or watching.
No one.
I don't have to worry about anything.
Well, tell me, Matthew, what is the main takeaway about Lloyd's career? And then we'll go to chat comments and questions.
Yeah, that comes up a lot. The biggest one for me, and I did an interview specifically for the book myself as a kind of coda to all the other interviews. And we talked about this, which is I was shocked and surprised. We all know Lloyd as the jaded, curmudgeonly old man that we just can't get enough of, Uncle Lloydie, and railing against the system and very anti-establishment and very anti-corporate and everything else. But you know what? He came out of the womb that way. That is what I discovered. I went back to some of his earliest interviews, even earlier than the ones in the books. And this guy is in his mid-late 20s, even earlier, college stuff. And he's still talking the way that he talks now. He came out on fire and ready to destroy everything. And it's not like it's years of being in the film industry that turned him into this guy. No, he's always been the Toxic Avenger since day one, ready to destroy whatever he sees as evil, even right out of the gate. And it was kind of amazing to see that this guy who's 25, 26, just getting started in films, and already he's like, fuck this, fuck that, Hollywood, corporate, blah, blah, like right from day one. So one thing you got to give him, he is Mr. Consistency. He is the guy who never sold out, even when he was younger. So
I'll take that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
True, you know it.
By the way, Matthew has a really good book about Comic-Con. It's extremely many pages. Apparently now publishers generally are requiring authors to make short books. All the novels that won the Booker Prize this year were under 300 pages.
Wow.
Except for one novel that was a Yiddish novel or something, obscure. So you can see the fact that this book, Comic-Con, nobody's going to do that again. And it's a wonderful.
Fantagraphics is crazy enough to do this like 700-page crazy book.
Well, that's a must stop. The Troma booth at Comic-Con. That's what I love about Troma is you are everywhere at the film market, at Cannes, at all the places where you would think you wouldn't be. And the anti-corporate, that is, I've always been that. For me, it comes from being Gen X and punk rock. So, and I think we've seen how bad corporatism it's gotten today. It's gotten way worse. We have so many questions. Our chat is on fire. Want to ask you both questions.
Hold on one thing. Grammy Kaufman, Grammy Kaufman, about whom I wrote in my first book. And my first book that I wrote was written by James Gunn, of course. But we talked about Grammy Kaufman. She gave me these books to read that predicted the sandcastle dissolving from within, basically. But I most of this stuff I read as a very young boy. Was a beautiful young boy, as a matter of fact. And I went to all boys schools, and a lot of this is just because I am a bourgeois, lucky enough to have my parents give me a decent education, which Americans cannot get anymore unless they're in the elite, like Chris Gore. You can't get educated and get a decent education. Matt Klickstein is well educated, but most of the people out in the street, we got 30% of New Yorkers who cannot get staples. They can't get staples. How are they going to clip their term papers together? For Christ's sake. Anyway, enough. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
That's why I did an entire book of interviews on the man.
Grammy Kaufman was really very unique, a butcher's daughter, but she read everything, and everything she predicted. Vitamin C, all these things from her friends like Linus Pauling. I met all these great people who nobody remembers. Nobel Prize winners. I met 2 of them. Anyway, the point is, I've been infected with the truth, as Chris said, and the only truth I think the only lie is that about talent. Do I have any talent? And I don't care. Chris Gore likes me. Mr. Klickstein has written a book, so I'm okay with that. And been able to survive thanks to Michael Hers. Who kept
Rudy, who is a member for 5, says, Lloyd, I thought you'd be in a madhouse by now. Can we have another rock Nukem High, please, sir?
Oh, good news. And thank you for that very good question. Right now, we are developing the Henpire Strikes Back, Poultrygeist Part 2.
The Henpire Strikes Back.
Mercedes Muse will direct it, and it will. It's in fact Andrew, who works with Matthew on this book, publicizing the book. My assistant, he's producing, and it's going to be great. It'll be the women's Poultrygeist. Price of eggs. It's still contemporary. And we'll guarantee you we won't make money with it, but it'll go on Troma now, and which is growing because the movies are good. They're not, I'm not saying anybody, the mainstream is bad.
By the way, Troma now is the Troma streaming services. It's $5. You have no excuse to not get it. I also, Charlie Band's Full Moon is like $5. $8.24. There is a blissful chaos to this interview. Thank you, $8. MK Solid says, is that an Egghead software shirt?
Damn right it is. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
See, I knew if I went on Chris Gore's show, somebody would recognize the sweater. I've had this thing for a year. I've had 1 or 3 people come up to me and go, "Is that an Egghead software sweater?" Nobody ever gets it. But I knew going on Chris Gore, I had to wear the sweater. It's not even cold right now. I was like, I'm gonna wear some geek flag stuff right now, man. And it's
that's nothing. That's nothing, Matthew. I got an authentic bootleg. I got a bootleg, authentic bootleg, Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, embroidered, very beautiful, authentic bootleg. What that's great. I'm happy with that.
No, and it was a tariff-free sweater. It was a tariff-free sweater too.
It's a human. I don't know about that, but I'm a human billboard.
Olivier Quay says Lloyd Kaufman cameos will make up for the loss of Stan Lee. Yeah, we all miss Stan Lee. Solomon Thornton, Sir Lloyd, any advice for beginning a film career?
Well, Matthew, I'll take this one. I think there's one crossroad. James Gunn made the crossroad, crossed it. Robert Frost talks about the road of poetry, the road not taken. That's one I took. James Gunn, who's brilliant and a wonderful person, he wanted the red carpet, and he's incredibly talented. So talent will out, in spite of Rupert Murdoch and all the evil Trumps. James is a great guy, and every $200 million movie he's made comes from his heart, soul, and his other orifices, and they're great. And so that's another way. But I went this crazy way, and I'm sure James's way is just as crazy.
Or buy our books, buy Lloyd's and mine's books about movie making, and then you'll know exactly how to make a movie.
That's
all your problems.
Basically, to thine own self be true. It coined a phrase coined by one William Shakespeare, who, by the way, as Chris Gore will tell you, wrote the amazing best-selling book, 101 best-selling screenplay titles. Very good.
And also can be seen in Shakespeare Shitstorm. Don't forget. Yes.
Yeah, the Bard is in that.
I love Lloyd. I listened to the commentary for one of my favorite commentaries you ever did was for a movie called Citizen Toxie, one of the Toxic Avenger. You are just lying throughout the commentary. Like, we got Brad Pitt for this scene. You're like just bullshitting through the whole thing like it's completely true. It is. I'm dying. They're like they're listen to the commentaries where Lloyd bullshits and has fun. He, not thinking someone like myself would actually listen to the commentary. Geek Truth 64 says, I remember Lloyd Kaufman in the last Blockbuster documentary. Loved the Blockbuster counterpoint for indie video rental stores. A question from the nerd far away. Hail, gentlemen. Where is a good place to start if I want to make my own damn movie? I would say read Lloyd's book for sure, and then listen to DVD commentary. But Lloyd, what do you say?
Well, certainly you want to follow and listen to Chris Gore's podcast. Actually, you can watch it. Go back in the past. There's a lot of far more intelligent people than I that can teach you. But I think the key is you can't stop. Whatever you're going to do, you got to be driven. You got to be obsessed, and try to do what's in your heart and soul, and maybe your anus, and do it. Finish it. Whatever it is. The hardest thing in the world is, as Matthew Klickstein will tell you, is to make a movie. It's anyone who gets one done. I'm so. Chris, you've made movies. I mean, it's a hell on earth.
Don't talk about it, do it. And last question before we let you guys go. Aid Ellis 24 says, and I wanted to ask this question. Thank you, Aid Ellis. We've long been waiting for the release of the Toxic Avenger remake that Troma co-produced. Is there any update on its release, and what are Lloyd's thoughts on the final product? Okay, so when is that movie going to come out, the Toxic Avenger remake?
Well, first of all, AIDS, and thank you for asking the question. It's a reimagining by Macon Blair, and it's totally different, Toxic Avenger. It still has Tromaville. The fans love it. There were about 25 focus groups, and they had some. The big shots had some for they actually had, they hire companies to do the focus group, and they had a couple for Troma fans where they appealed to Troma fans, and the Troma fans loved it, and the people off the street gave it 87 to 92%, whatever, so it was well received. I would say it's better than the original Toxie. It's according to Cineverse, who are the distributors for Legendary, who really put up all this $50 million bucks. Although I put up the flight to Bulgaria to be in the film, I paid for that. But they're very nice. They were really nice to us. They couldn't find a distributor. It's the film that they wouldn't let you see, but finally they found Cineverse, and it's going to open Labor Day, according to Cineverse, 2,000 locations.
So, okay, the Toxic Avenger remake with reimagining with Peter Dinklage opens Labor Day, a $50 million budget, and then, Lloyd kicks in a flight to Bulgaria, and there is a cameo, so look for Lloyd. I'm there. I'm there day one. Yeah, I'm there day one. And I talked to someone who was in the focus group. They said they loved it.
Oh, good. Oh, great.
They loved it. Hey, Matthew, Lloyd, thank you for joining us today. The book is the Lloyd Kaufman Interviews. Please full screen that. There it is. It exists. It's out from what again?
University Press of Mississippi, but you should be able to get it at an ebook store, hardcover or paperback or ebook. And even though I always say support your local bookstores and comic book shops, please do that. Still do a review on Amazon, though, because it helps push the recommendation algorithm when we can't pay people to do it ourselves like the big publishers do. So support your local bookstore.
It's a good idea. Yeah. Thank you, Matthew.
And thank you, Lloyd, just for being a source of inspiration. And thank you, Matthew. I expect
that
we'll
get thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for
zero emails. Matthew,
yes,
zero emails.
Done until the next project.
Until the next book. Until the next book. And I don't mind. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, thanks you guys. And Lloyd, please come back when Toxic Avenger comes out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And Mr. Eng, thank you.
Thank you,
Alan.
You're very quiet, Alan.
I know. There's so much going on in this interview. I'm like, you don't need a fourth voice to kind of bring it.
That's all good. It's all good. All right. Take care, you guys. I'll see you around Labor Day for Toxic Avenger. Love you guys.